I would say that the thought of a stroke is one of the most terrifying things people go through. So let's begin by just a definition of what a stroke is.
Okay, so stroke really is an injury to the brain that happens when there's a lack of blood flow to the brain. That's the ischemic stroke. There's actually three main types of stroke. One of them, the most common one, is when there's a lack of blood flow to an area of the brain. That's what we call ischemic stroke. That's about 87% of all strokes. Then about 10% of strokes are when a blood vessel ruptures and then there's blood spilling into the brain. And about 3% or so is when an aneurysm ruptures, and we call that subarachnoid hemorrhage, and there's bleeding into the outer lining of the brain. The arteries come from the heart, and there's blood. The blood goes through the blood vessels into the brain and gives oxygen and nutrients to the brain. So the arteries branch out just like you do on a tree, and that really gives us the nurture that the brain needs. And essentially your brain is suffocating and you're not getting enough oxygen into there. You can only hold your breath for so long under the water. It's just the same scenario. So not enough oxygen is reaching an area of the brain, and it's going to start to not work very well. It's going to start to suffer. And if you're able to restore blood flow, then nothing happened. There's going to be very little injury, if anything. But if time goes by, then that area of injury is going to set in, and it's going to be irreversible injury. And that's what a stroke is. Now, different things can cause that lack of blood flow to the brain. So a clot can form somewhere in the body, travel up the tree trunk into the branches and get lodged, or the branch itself, the artery, can get narrowed by fat deposition or aging and cause an interruption of blood flow. The blood vessel can rupture partially, something we call a dissection, and then do like a false lumen, or a false space within the branch that then blocks blood flow. So there's different things that can cause a stroke, but ultimately what happens is there's a lack of blood flow to an area of the brain.